Hello world, my name is Max Stein and I love video games.
I'm the Megabuck. I really love video games.
And my name is Raph. I also love video games.
And welcome to the Game Treasure Podcast, where we bring you treasured video games of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Warning, the Game Treasure Podcast is not for children or anyone with a brain for that matter. This week, dear listener review, we have an excellent show for you that is jam-packed. We have so much shit to discuss for you. We have got a message from our dearest friend, the king of video games. First, it's been too long since we've met the king of video games, and you might probably know what he's going to talk to us about based off of the title of this episode. But disregard that, because we don't have time to that, because we have very, very urgent video game news to discuss. Just a couple days before this recording, dear listener, dear viewer, Nintendo did it again. They had a surprise 15-minute long direct for a brand new Starfox game.
Well,
that's right. Kind of. He was in the Super Mario Galaxy movie for a reason, and that's because they're going to remake Star Fox 64, and it's just going to be called Starfox, which is just like I got goosebumps just thinking about it.
This makes me almost want to get a Switch too.
Finally a game that I'm glad I own a Switch too.
They dropped this commercial that saw Nintendo explaining we're remaking it with the new graphics and the this and the that, and there's a versus mode, and if one of you has the game and four of you are in the same room, you can just share it with your friends to do the battle mode where one of you plays as Star Wolf and one of you plays as Star Fox. Did you see that
the friends can be playing on a Switch 1?
Oh, what? I didn't notice that.
That battle mode, if you looked at it, it was a Switch and a Switch Lite.
So right.
Up to the consoles.
Holy shit, what? That's I didn't even catch that.
You're so correct. They even added like that horrible game chat thing that nobody I know uses. They've added this crazy overlay where you can make your face into Star Fox, including like it like blinks with you and moves your mouth with you, and oh my god, it looks absolutely crazy.
Yeah, furry community, you stay away from our Star Fox.
Dude, they ended up making all of the animals look a lot more animal-like. They've redesigned everybody. Oh my god, I cried
same. And it's a weird moment. It's when I saw Bill, of all characters, the dog that's on the planet with like the giant saucer. When I saw Bill, like that, like unlocked something from my childhood that just like had me like, oh shit, dude. I remember every single level that they showed in this trailer, like to a T. It was amazing.
They get to the part where it's like, and this and that, and I was like, that's the waterfall with the secret thing behind it. And then it goes, and don't forget, and then Falco turned into it, and I was just like, God damn it, I love Star Fox 64 so fucking much, dude. When he shows up in the Super Mario Galaxy movie, I also cried because they're playing the music and it does the intro, and I was just like, I underestimate how much. We did an episode, just a retro roundtable covering Star Fox for the Nintendo, and if you go back and watch the episode, it's the same epiphany where it's just like, this game kicks so much ass, dude. And it's just like, it's about a bunch of anthropomorphic space mercenary pilots. Like, what the fuck, Nintendo? It's so cool. And I don't know, I wanted to ask you, Buck, was your very first thought when you saw it, you better not bonanza this. You better not bonanza this.
Well, it's a remake, so they literally just took the same game and have made it prettier and added more features. When it first started showing the cutscenes, my first thought was like, this was like one of those really cool like college film projects that someone made that would never come to life, and it was beautiful. But then it hits you that it's Nintendo that you're watching, and you're like, oh man, this is. I mean.
It's real.
They would have to work extra hard to screw this up. So I'm super excited because I think it's going to be great.
I got so excited for Donkey Kong Bonanza, and then obviously, viewer, listener, you know how we feel about that. It was just like, it's okay. And then it was just like, Star Fox got me crying, and I'm just like, you better not fuck this up, Nintendo. I swear to God, I'll be so mad at you.
I have to agree with Buck. They really honestly just can't fuck it up. Like they're taking the same level designs, they're just revamping the graphics and then just adding more cutscenes, which I'm okay with, a little bit more context for the characters.
Yeah, that's right. They added in between cutscenes
that look awesome. They look great.
They'll add more levels too, and more secret exits and more lead off to other paths and those kinds of things too.
The beginning of the trailer, I also got like weird Star Wars vibes. Like it was, like the intro to any Star Wars movie has like the intro sequence and then kind of like this pan down to a planet and that music came on and it sounded like something out of like straight up A New Hope or something like that.
I mean, do you not remember the Starfox and Starfox 64 intros?
I don't remember that particular, but yeah, it's so cinematic.
The Super Nintendo one was like, Nintendo presents.
Yeah.
Flies off.
I mean, it was
right now. All them running down the fucking dunk.
That was all really good too. I tell you what, I haven't seen the Mario movie yet, but I'm pretty sure that Captain Falcon's not in it. But I think this game has given the F-Zero fans a little bit of hopium.
Oh,
interesting.
Maybe they're reviving dead franchises.
Interesting. This is tangentially related, but I've been seeing a lot of circulations with a rumor that Nintendo will also be remaking the Ocarina of Time.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Okay, look. If you do the math and you get into the minutia, this would technically be the 5th time they have remade Star Fox 64 because of this, and then the DS one, which was more of an upgrade. It wasn't just like a port and then ports of it and everything else. And it's like Nintendo will eventually make an Ocarina of Time remake.
I mean, they're talking about. I mean, like it was the Lego set that is tipping people off because they're like, why would they make it Ocarina of Time unless, and then it's just like, it's the Star Fox is in the Galaxy movie. Why?
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh shit, because they're remaking it. So it's just like, dude, if they remake Ocarina of Time, I'll lose my fucking shit.
In all of, yeah, right, that'd be cool.
If that happens, I will get a Switch too. Honestly, I will be getting a Switch too.
In all of my constantly on Twitter X with the Super Interview Brothers, I've made more and more places I've followed, and the most recent one I followed because of all this is Argonaut Software, the guys that created the FX chip and the first Star Fox, and they were the ones that pointed out to me that someone saw one of the Easter eggs, and that is if you look on the sides of the twin boosters on the R-Wings, that it says like, encased, powered by FX super power, like it has a nod to the FX chip on the actual sides of the R-Wings now in this one too. And let's not forget that one game that came out a couple years ago. Well, what was the name of it? Where Star Fox made a cameo. They even made little toys of it.
Yeah. God,
we have
those
it.
Toy as Games was the name of the company that made it or something like this.
It was actually not a bad game,
toy.
but the Switch version had an R-Wing and had Star Fox in it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited, and I hope they don't fuck it up. If you haven't seen the trailer, go check it out and get excited just like I did. But enough speculating about the future. Let's go ahead and reel ourselves back in time and start our episode off, as we always should, by having the Mega Buck and RetroGameTreasure.com take us back with this week's Retro Zone game. Buck, please.
Let's go back in time.
Another robot.
Don't you guys love it when I bring mech games because then I do a terrible robot?
Yes.
It's so much fun.
Buck, you haven't seen the Mario Galaxy movie yet.
No,
right?
Not yet. No.
Rob the Robot. That's
of course.
all I'm going to say.
You can't have Star Fox without Rob the Robot. I hope so.
Oh, hell yeah.
I would hope so. This is actually a game that everybody that owned an Xbox probably owned, and rightfully so. I'm talking about co-developed by Day One Studios and FASA Studio, Mech Assault. For the original Xbox.
Wow. I have not seen the Xbox Mech Assault box in 1,000 years, but as soon as you see it, it brings me right back to your college dorm.
I haven't brought too many Xbox games to the Retro Zone, and when I saw Mech Assault come in with a batch to the warehouse for this month, I was like, ooh, I'm grabbing that.
So is this a line in the Mech Warrior games, basically?
So this game has a fun little story to it. It was co-developed, like I said, by 2 different studios. The first one being FASA Studios, aka the spin-off of FASA, which, if you're a old school tabletop nerd like me, made BattleTech back in the 80s.
Very cool.
BattleTech was actually the first tabletop game that I played before I played Warhammer 40K.
Really?
Second edition. I played BattleTech in our gaming club in middle school. So they made when they made FASA Studios, they made the Mech Warrior games, the ones you see on PC, the ones for like Super Nintendo, those kind of things. They made this. They also made Crimson Skies.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, it does. It explains a lot. The other studio that made this game, Day One, they made a handful of other games. They helped do console ports of Fear, some of the Fear games, but then they rebranded as Wargaming. They make World of Tanks.
Oh, shit. That also makes sense.
Wow.
When you have a niche, you just run with it, right?
That makes, dude, this game, is very World of Tanks. Wow.
If you're good at something, right?
Look, everybody is familiar with World of Tanks at this point because it's been out for 15 years. So if you ever played that and went, this is okay, but I wish I was piloting a giant robot, then you
Mech Assault.
should just play Mech Assault or Mech Assault 2 Lone Wolf.
This game is I'm probably showing footage of it right now. It's got the third person perspective destruction vehicle shooter game genre doesn't really, I feel like, happen anymore, but this shit was so fire.
This was the best. You know what this was? This was, if you played Blast Core for the N64, you probably liked it, but you probably wished it had more and it had battling. That and this, but in the BattleTech universe.
You wish it had a second, third, fourth, and fifth mech in it instead of just the one.
Right. Yeah. Right. But you get a whole range of things, everything from like Ravens to Mad Cats, all kinds of different. This is the very, very action oriented Mech Assault. This isn't like any of the Mech Warrior games. If you played this, which is more realistic and slow paced, this is like arcade action in giant robots.
Yeah, the mech. I can never remember which one's the first person. Which one's the first person? More boring,
Mech
slow.
Warrior.
Mech Warrior.
Hey, I like those two.
I know. I was about to say. I know you. I've watched you play basically
Yeah.
all of these because, like you said, your attachment with the tabletopping one. But this one, especially being on Xbox Live at the time,
This was at the launch of Xbox. Like, there's literally, so this is a complete inbox copy here, which has a gorgeous manual, and there is a flyer in here that's like, hey, coming in November of this year is this new thing we're doing called Xbox Live. And this had 8-player like free-for-all or teams or other ways to play in the giant mechs, and holy crap.
man. Between this and Crimson Skies, these guys owned Xbox Live.
And that's why I had an Xbox in college, specifically for those two games.
So I never owned an Xbox growing up. So this game, did it play basically? I mean, because it, like, looking at the footage, it kind of looks like a more arcadey sort of Armored Core or something like that. Is that kind of what
it was a little bit slower than Armored Core, and Mech Warrior is not an aerial combat game at all. I mean, mechs have jump jets, but it is like and then slam to the ground kind of, thing. There's not a lot of mobility, even though this one has a little bit more of that.
Looks really cool.
But these mechs are like, the mechs in the BattleTech universe are always like more hulking and clunky.
They have a very specific look to them.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
They do. But
It's very British feeling.
if you never played this game, you owe it to yourself. And if you sold this in college or got rid of this and are rebuilding your collection, you also owe it to yourself to get this game and play it again.
On the box, does it say it has split screen, like versus or co-op?
Oh yeah, like a local co-op.
It has online multiplayer. No, they were really okay.
Bummer.
This is the universe.
That would be the only thing. You would get it. You should, if you have an Xbox and you don't have this game, you should fucking get it and then be sad that you can't play it online.
I think Lone Wolf, the second one, does. But here's the thing. This is where we were in the gaming universe at that time. Xbox Live was launching. These games were new and beautiful. So this doesn't have split screen. It has System Link, where you link two Xboxes together and have two CRT TVs. And
that is very doable, though. I mean, I guess you have to have two CRTs, but yeah, it's very doable.
But they were also pushing Xbox Live. They were like, look, you don't need to do split screen and tax your hardware. Go play online with your friends.
Yeah, who would want couch co-op in the modern age, right?
Very good. Mech Assault, man. So is this a vehicle shooter then?
That's where we put it, because we also have a sub category you can select, which is mecha.
Mechs. Yeah.
Very cool.
Very, very good. Very good poll. Go now to www.retrogametreasure.com. Let Buck you have an Xbox and that you like mech stuff and vehicle shooters, and you too could be lucky enough to get your hands on a copy of the original Xbox Mech Assault. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to see what the king of video games has in store for us this week. See you on the other side, listener. right, we're back, and it is time. It's been several months since we've seen the king of video games. Last we saw him, he was in a e-cafe playing RTS games. Couldn't seem to get his attention.
I forgot about that.
So let's
We miss you, King. Come visit more often.
So let's see
Rip him away from
what
the
the king of video games has in store for us today.
My lords, my ladies, I now present to you the king of video games.
Hello, Game Treasure Crew.
Jesus
It is I, the king of video games, beseeching you more video game gems. I need assistance. The king of cards is coming over to my house next week, and I heard he's really into these things called deck builders. So I'm here at the Home Depot, assuming something was on sale, like Steam said, and yet nothing is on sale. Everything is full price. I don't understand. What am I missing, Game Treasure Crew? Help me, please. I need deck building gems.
Wow, king of video games looks like he was about to be escorted out of the Home Depot that he lives very close to.
He's one of
That's
those
not good.
IRL influencers that people take videos of them in the aisle doing stupid shit.
Oh
Well,
my god, I can't wait to see the inevitable footage that someone else filmed of the king of video games at Home Depot later on someone else's social media.
I don't think the king of video games is allowed to go back to that Home Depot anymore.
Oh my god. Okay. I'm sorry. All right.
And King, you're mistaken. It's not deck builders as in building decks. It's the king of cards likes deck builders because deck builders are games in which you assemble a deck of cards, you silly guy. Oh my goodness. Well, it's okay. Luckily for you, King, we knew that ahead of time, and so we selected the correct video games.
I also went to Home Depot and sorry.
I did. I have a surprise later. I did just want to mention, though, dear King, that I played and returned a couple of video games in preparation for this episode, and it really, really made me appreciate Slay the Spire and Monster Train and Vampire Crawlers because holy fuck, so many of these deck builders have way too many mechanics in them. They're
Or
way
not enough.
too hard to pick up and play, or not enough. I'm just gonna say I tried to play Die in Dungeon. No, I tried to play Gambonanza. No, just
Almost
why
like
is it
those,
so
wow.
fucking complicated? What is happening with
That's
this
part of
game?
the fun.
No, it's
Well,
not.
for some,
But
I'll tell you this, Mac. We talked about before with deck builders how these came from the board game universe, right? The
Right.
board game deck builders are almost 20 years old now, give or take. And that same thing happened in board games. You know, I remember excitedly that I told you that there was a Resident Evil deck builder. Of course, I owned that. I sold it because it was one of the worst deck builders that
Wow.
that came out along that time,
Tragic.
and that got kind of like hidden identity games like Werewolf and such. That also became the hotness in board games for a while. The market then became bloated with them. And then there were so many that it was like, well, that one's good. Ascension was made by an ex Magic the Gathering Pro Tour player. That one was good. But then there's a bunch that are just too much or too little.
it's really true. But I did finally find a sweet spot game that I bring to your feet, dear King of Video Games. The game is published in May of 2025. It's called As We Descend.
I was looking at this one. It looks cool.
It is cool. It's developed by Box Dragon, published by Coffee Stain Publishing. It's a roguelike deck building game that's been scratching the tabletop war game itch that I've been having, but have no desire to actually go play tabletop war games. So the game is kind of hard to explain, so bear with me here. It's played in a series of cycles or rounds, I guess you can call them. And those are your descents, right? And each descent, you can beat the game when you get to the bottom of the 5th descent or whatever. Each descent is broken down into phases. The resting phase, the scouting phase, the planning phase, and the final phase. And funny enough, this is actually like a double deck builder because during the resting and planning cycle, you use a deck. And then during the scouting and final cycle, you use a different deck.
And you build these both.
You build them both.
Wow.
So the planning and resting cycle, you build a deck of regular ass people. So like surveyors, envoys, representatives, and they have stats that are like strength, charisma, and intelligence. And you use them during those phases to like go around the town to do the normal roguelike shit. So like there might be a thing in town that like is you can unlock it by having someone with really high charisma go and visit this guy and convince him to give you this new piece of technology that's really just like a relic, like how roguelike games work. And so you get a random series of cards every time that out of your deck, every time one of those phases happens. And you can, if you happen to draw an envoy that you collected that has really high charisma, you send him over to there. Or maybe you want to save him for this different thing that gets all your health back for your warrior characters that you use during the scouting and the final cycle. So during that cycle, you get these groups of units that they call lanterns. And they all come with like pre-made cards that you add to that deck. Like, so for example, the ones you start out with, like just like warriors, they've got swords and shields. They start with 2 cards that are just called like shield bash, 2 cards that are let them like switch which row they're on, which I'll get to in a second, and then like a card that's like a shield. And then during that planning phase, you can do things like add more cards that they can use or take away cards from their deck if you have one that you don't want to use or whatever. When you do a battle, you select which units you want to bring into that battle. There'll be like a max number that you can use. And when you select them, you get their cards.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So you'll
it's
be
like having a sideboard in Magic.
Yes.
Cool.
So it'll be like, all right, for this battle, I'm going to send in my knights, my regular warriors, and my archers. And it'll be like, based off that, your deck will be these cards. Does that sound good? Yes. And then you go into the battle, the warriors, all the units that you just picked, like automatically boom, 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 populate. And then you draw 7 cards and then you go from there. The second cool thing about the battle phase is that it's done on a board, so to speak. And the board is like subdivided into like 4 pieces. So you and your enemy both have 2 sections, so to speak. There's a support row, which is farther back from the enemy front line, and then the defense row, which is closer. And then your enemy has the same thing, defense row, and then a support row. And all the units have different attributes depending on where, like archers can auto attack from the support row, but warriors cannot. So you're encouraged to push them up to the front row. But then, sometimes you've got a card where if a warrior is in the support row, he gets this. So then you want to use that, then push him forward. If a warrior unit is in the defense row, he auto attacks. And then there's so many really cool
you
combos
like this because
that.
It really looks like Warhammer Fantasy. Like you got to play like a Warhammer Fantasy skirmish game.
It's really true. I got addicted to like, okay, so my strategy for this deck that I'm building is focused on the stun damage that some of my enemies or some of my knights can use. And so when I'm doing a thing and upgrading / adding a card to my archers, if I have to pick between 2, if one of them has an effect that applies stun, I'm going to go with that because that's like the theme I'm going for with my army right now or whatever. And then, I've got this card with my knights where if they have 2 other units next to them, they get invulnerability or something. So there'll be times when I move my archers up 1 rank so that I can cast this spell on my knights, and then I'll move them back a rank with like this, with a card that's just called like marching orders or something like this. And it was a lot. And I mentioned before being stunned with a lot, but it was just like the game just like immediately lets you play. It's just like, okay, here's like one night. It's just like, if you have any questions, just hover over the stuff. And it was just a really good Goldilocks zone for me. But yeah, I played for like a couple hours last night, and then I played again this morning. And it's just like you said, it's just Warhammer Fantasy. It's almost like Monster Train if you played it, but instead of vertical,
you like that one, yeah.
It's horizontal. And I say that because in Monster Train, you have like a heart of your train. And if that dies, you lose. In this, it's the same thing. So you have in the backfield, you have like a giant statue called the Gate Lantern. And if the enemies kill it, you lose. The other cool thing is it has cool abilities that it can do using a separate like mana pool that does not replenish each turn. Instead, you have to replenish it back home during those other 2 phases. But it'll have like crazy powerful cards. It'll be like
your special moves.
Yeah, you'll have one of them in your deck, and it'll be, and then like every once in a while, I'll be like, do you want to change that one special card for a possible different one? And they'll do things like do 50 damage and stun an enemy for 3 turns, but it costs that rare currency that you don't get to replenish automatically. It's really good. Buck, you might like it as well, being a tabletop wargaming person.
This sounds like it's very mechanically meaty, but at the same time allows you to learn its systems like at your own pace.
That's just good game design.
Right. Yeah, very, very
awesome
smart.
design.
Yeah, it sounds very
That's
cool.
the only way I can explain, which is like a mouthful, but it's just like I said, I tried to play Die in Dungeon, and the onboarding was just like,
That's a big problem with these. A lot of these have a lot of tutorial onboarding that's kind of annoying.
And to be honest, I would say the same for Slay the Spire. It's just the sequel was more of the same, so it had like 0 barrier to entry if you played the first one.
Right, yeah.
Well, it is very, very good, King. I would recommend going on Steam while the sale's still going on and get yourself As We Descend. It's like, since it came out in 2025, it's like $13. It looks cool, sounds cool, and I like the varied gameplay. I like going from the battles and then going back to town to be like, okay, now what can I do? And with different things and whatever, it's just a lot. I really, really like that.
That's something that not a lot of deck builders have, though, and that's a really cool aspect.
Right. Slay the Spire has those cool question mark spots and the beginning zones in the second one where you can get other stuff. And I'm like, I don't want it to just be straight battles.
I was going to say a lot of them have like the question mark thing and the artifacts and all that stuff, but if you have a totally different phase in town, the whole second deck thing mentioned, that's a pretty cool and different, aspect to that game. That's neat.
It's very cool. And that's all I have for you for Gem, my lord. Buck, what video game deck building gem do you have for the King of Video Games?
I brought 2 gems for you this week. One of the things I think is really great about this genre, and again, this all transfers over from the board game section of it as well, is it can span different themes easily and be implemented. So like what Mac is talking about is it's not really medieval fantasy, but it kind of is. It's like a sci-fi kind of medieval, mythical, magical, right? And the first game that I bring is taking you all the way to the other side of the galaxy up into space with almost like a Starfoxy theme, and that is Cobalt Core.
This also looked really cool. I was
Cobalt
looking at
Core
it.
came so much about this game.
Both the games I brought are a couple years old at least. This came out in 2023. Their publisher actually is Brace Yourself Games. The guys that did Necrodancer, Crypt of the Necrodancer, and the Dance of the Necrodancer is their publisher. So it has like a sci-fi Star Fox kind of aesthetic. It uses kind of like a time loop aspect in space to explain the whole, why do you do it over and over again?
Right.
But the way this game basically is based is it's your ship versus another ship, and you're both on horizontal planes of one another. So it tells you in advance where the enemy ship is going to shoot, so you can plan your turns. But the thing is you can only move side to side. So do you move, you have cards that give you that type of movement that cost you your energy, your mana, whatever your resource is in this one as well, right? And then you have access to like guns, missiles, drones, shields to block all that kind of thing. And so you end up moving back and forth, kind of like a pixel horizontal dogfighting, as it were, between you and the ship, but you're kind of just facing each other, right? Where it expands and gets a whole lot more fun than that is you start to unlock, like all the others, you have a tree and you go through and get more relics and everything else. But when you beat runs, you actually unlock more crew members to your ship. You start with 3. There's a max of like 6 or 8 crew members, something like this. But here's where it gets fun. You can still only take 3 crew members on each run. And each of the crew members has a specialization. So if this guy's specialization is shields, this guy's is movement, this guy's is guns, this guy's is missiles, this guy's is drones, you have to decide, that decides 1, what starting cards you get in your deck, and 2, what kind of cards, colors like in Magic, are you going to get blue cards or red cards or green cards? You're only going to get cards within the realm of the characters that you pick to go for that run. But it has that nice mixture in the tactics. Like when I first started it starts out very rudimentary, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to like this. And then I started playing it, and it started really grabbing my attention with the strategy of it. The music is freaking amazing, by the way. The soundtrack is absolutely amazing. But what really was one of the fun things to me that happened in the first run was I went to the merchant. They let you upgrade cards like anything else, get health back, whatever else. But then I came across these other guys, and it's just this dude They're all like Starfox, anthropomorphic, animal, whatever. This dude sitting off the back of his ship, and he's like, "Oh, hey guys, what are you doing out in space?" And we're like, try to get to this thing. The banter with the characters is great in this game. Cool. And he goes, "Hey, I got this experimental thing that'll mess with your ship. It should probably be cool. It might not be, but it should be cool. You want to do it?" And I was like, I have no fucking clue what this guy's asking. Sure. I hit the button. It takes my ship, which turns out is built into sections that you learn kind of later on. Like one is your cockpit, one is your gun, one is your drone bay, all that. And he just totally fucking rearranges my ship. Like both of my wings are on this side now. The missile bay and the gunner bay are right next to each other. And he adds an extra section that's just like scaffolding between the sections, which you learn is basically a free space. Enemies shoot you there, it just goes straight through you. And so you don't always have to completely evade everything they're doing to kind of make that shot, which was super fun. So
this game looks cool. I've heard so much about it. I now that it's you've bought it, I will play it in our family share.
It looks almost like an FTL sort of deal with cards, and that sounds very appealing to me.
It's funny because this developer has made one other game, and it's basically FTL, but a straight up puzzle, like engineering puzzle game.
Very cool.
So it's pretty cool. My second game, though, is an absolute gem. Made in 2021, published by Baylor Games, the guys who did Wizard of Legend 2 and Monaco 2, if you played those, which are really great. Fights in Tight Spaces.
Oh, this looks cool too, yeah.
Yeah, it
does. This game is like it's a roguelike deck builder, obviously. It's a tactical game, and it's almost like a John Wick style turn-based deck builder. And literally in tight spaces. Like it is all about spacing and movement around the enemies you're fighting on a grid. The art style is like super hot, like that kind of,
cool.
like all
silhouettes.
red or all silhouettes of the characters.
Graphics, I guess.
Yeah, right. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. And so it's all about the cards are all about like movement, side to side, slipping around, martial arts, John Wick and what's the guy that was the really famous martial artist that back in the 90s?
John Woo.
Yeah, John Woo. Yeah, right. And all of his kind of stuff, right? Cards where you take guys and you smash their heads against walls, or you slam them into your buddy, or you have to be 2 spaces away because you're going to do like a flying jump kick, or you're going to do, things along those, like you're going to do a hammer back fist and you can hit 2 enemies or whatever else kind of thing is. But where it gets really interesting is a couple things that I've never seen before in a deck builder. So first of all, when you start a run to pick your deck, you can pick what style you like to play as. And what I mean is, do you like balanced all around, like some movement, some attacking, some of this, some of that? Do you like aggressive? Because this game has a combo system, which I'll explain in a second. Do you like lots of countering? Because you can do blocks and counter attacks in this game. Do you like grappling and positioning? Does that the kind of style that you like in like I guess call it a fighting game, right? In that kind of aspect. But where it takes off from there is it gives you a couple of different resources to manage, as well as blocking and other things. So it's going to plop you down into a space. And when it says fights in tight spaces, like they're not joking. You pick a mission that you're going to go on. You're like a spy kind of thing. You have to infiltrate this biker gang. You have to infiltrate this prison with this thing that's going on. And I have fought in everything from a mechanic's garage to the mess hall of a prison to the back of a prison transport bus.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like that's how tight the spaces were, which made the cards where you hit guys and throw them against walls easier and more difficult. But the more attacks you do in a row without breaking it by doing certain dodges or blocks, you gain what's called a momentum meter, which actually works as a second type of resource, because some of your cards don't cost your mana, your whatever they call that in this game. I forget the name of it. They cost momentum. So you can't do like a, jab reverse hook combo unless you built up the momentum meter by like working the opponent into a corner by doing a couple moves in a row. And that can carry over from turn to turn.
I noticed a lot of these kick-ass DLCs. One where they add a dog.
What? They added a haunted
house. You get a second, like a lady
weapon
of choice canine unit. This is badass.
Yeah. Where it shines, though, is so once you've learned those, basically a couple of things. They tell you in advance what each opponent's going to try to do on the next turn. This guy's going to attack directly in front of him. You got enemies with guns. So it's like this guy's going to shoot along this plane. This guy's going to do a haymaker. So he's going to hit all 3 of these spots, whatever. Because your job then is to be out of the way of line of fire.
Sure.
But when it's really fun is when you get into a flow and you go, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip to the side of this guy, push that guy into this guy, then grab him and then throw him into the line of fire so that that guy accidentally shoots his friend.
Yeah.
I don't think it has this, but I really wish there was like a replay mechanic where you could just
watch it all.
Rewatch your fight. Kind of like when we played the Yomi Hustle game where you could just rewatch the, 5 or 10 turns it took you and the whole thing only took like, 5 or 10 seconds. But man, this is a really cool example to me of how a deck builder can just go in the coolest of directions with its theme.
I'm going to play this as well. Yeah. Very good. That's perfect time. Raph, your gems for the king of video games.
I also have 2. So this first one was released in February of 2026 this year. Actually, both of them are new. I kind of decided that I want to expand my deck builder collection, so I went with new games this time around. So this one is called Killing Stone, developed and published by Question. And this one is a little bit more Inscription than Slay the Spire. It's more story rich. It's very well written. There's actually options in the game for Old English and Modern English, which is kind of cool. So I found that the best way to play it is actually have the audio in Old English and then your text in Modern English, so you can kind of hear it and get lost in it and get in the atmosphere. But then if you don't understand what the fuck they're saying, you can look at the subtitles and read it. The concept behind this is pretty cool. It's you're playing as somebody. It's very. I'm going to be honest with you. The story is very dense. So you are part of a family that's been cursed, I believe. If I'm gathering correctly, what's been going on. It's still very mysterious in the beginnings of the plot. But you essentially are making a deal with the devil. You're bargaining with the life of I think the matriarch of this family. And making deals with the devil by playing this game with him, and fighting off various demons through rituals. The game goes in 2 portions. It has this live action sort of first person exploration.
Looks great.
Shit. And then there's also the card game, which are the actual rituals themselves. The atmosphere is great. It's very dark and spooky. And yeah, you do story stuff, talk to NPCs, and then also play cards. Mechanically, the card system, the way that it works is that you're in a line, essentially. You place your cards single file, and then the characters will be in that line. They all have energy values like most deck builders, and some of them have special abilities. You place them one at a time, and then they kind of fight each other, pushing towards the end rank where you have these orbs that you're trying to attack, which are essentially the 2 players. You also have options of placing certain cards in reserve, which is in a line right next to the main line. These cards, they can actually offer up some benefits to the cards that are in your actual main line that you're fighting, granting you health bonuses, healing, whatever. And then some other cards can be deployed from that rear line, and they get benefits from that as well, +1 to attack or whatever. Very cool. It's one of those games that, you said earlier, some of these deck builders this one borders on having too many mechanics, but the atmosphere is rich enough that you kind of want to keep playing it.
That is pretty good. It's so funny. There's this amazing intro cutscene trailer here. If you guys are watching, or if Mac has someone on screen, it's wow, this looks great. Wow, this is great. Wow, this is great. And then there's this animation of one NPC or something just going, wiping their brow, and it looks like shit. You made this trailer. You want your game to look good. Why did you do that?
Sometimes it looks fantastic. Sometimes it does look like shit. But it's something about the audio design, the music, the atmosphere of it is very, very heavy. Just take your intoxicant of choice and sit down with headphones and just play this for a little bit. It's very, very engaging. It just sucks you in. The one caveat is that there are these story sections in between sometimes feel a little too long. I want to jump back into the card game, and the card game itself does escalate in difficulty fairly quickly. So there is that you have to deal with. So that's
be interested to see how long this game takes to beat then, I guess.
I'm curious about that as well. I'm going to keep playing it because it is very, I'm kind of drawn into its central mystery and its
very
story.
Inscription coded.
Very, yeah. Very much feels like it, especially those first person sections. But
right.
I'm going to actually go ahead and move on to another game that I really want you guys to check out. And this one, there's the caveat is that it is tragically short. So this is called Project Kill Dance. This was released January 15th of 2026, developed and published by Toge Productions, right? So this game is short and sweet, man. The story is very minimal. There's no real dialogue as far as I could tell. The story just kind of like you're playing as a mother who like loses their child, it seems like, in a crowded place, and then you have to like try to find them. But then these places kind of change into these weird locations where you have to fight people. Also, I love how the character looks like a combination of Carmen Sandiego and the protagonist from Hellsing, which is fucking amazing. But
that is very accurate.
When you start playing, you're presented with this isometric battlefield, and it's not like a grid. I don't see like a visible grid on it, as far as I can tell. But you use cards to move and attack. These cards, obviously, they have energy values. I think you have like an energy pool of about 5, if I remember right. Enemies are usually trying to move around the battlefield, trying to kill you with guns, typically. They shoot you. So one hit kills you. And it also kills them. But the cool thing is the way that you move around with these cards makes you look like an anime protagonist with plot armor. Like you are like using moves to dodge forward, and then they'll shoot and they'll miss you, and then you can sidestep bullets. Sometimes you see like the trajectories of the bullets, and it all happens in turns.
That's cool.
Right, yeah. And there's also even a certain amount of stealth in this. I had one where I ended up like sneaking behind a pillar, and then the other guys went to go around the other way, and then I took a couple of turns of movement, went around the back, and killed them both in one swipe, which is really cool. Feels fantastic.
This is interesting. This is from the developer that did like the Coffee Talk games,
right?
And
yeah,
and that Whisper Mountain game that we played, that like Resident Evil-y isometric one. But this was an internal game jam game that they did.
Exactly.
So that's why it's free.
Exactly. It's free. That's the other thing. It's free. That's why I was like, you guys need to play this. It's a half an hour and it's amazing. The cool thing is that once you kill all the enemies on the map, you are rewarded with a real-time cutscene of what you just did, and it's like 3 seconds of you going.
Oh, that's what. I wonder if Fights in Tight Spaces has that.
Like cutting people up and stuff. It's amazing, dude. Check it out. Like I said, it only takes 30 minutes to complete. And honestly, I want to end like this discussion of this with like directly to the developers. Make this into a full fucking game, please.
Maybe they are.
I beg of you. It was so fucking addictive. I want to just play it again, even though I beat it after half an hour. Please, just make the fucking game, please.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what I have,
Kill Dance.
my lord.
Kill Dance.
Noir
Kill
tactical
Dance
action. It says, this looks awesome.
Noir, the noir style is seeping
It's
through.
$3.99. You can't beat that.
Absolutely.
Very good, very good. Well, my lord, there you go. There you have it. A large array of deck building games for you to go check out and purchase. I hope that you didn't get in too much trouble at that Home Depot. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to do our What Else You Got, and then go ahead and head on out of here. See you on the other side, dear listener or viewer.
Ask yourself this. Have you the skill? Have you the will to beat the devil?
All right, we're back, and it's the end of our show, and it's time for our What Else You Got? The segment of our show, we can bring anything to the table, be it video game or otherwise. This week, I've got a sweet treat for you, King of Video Games and other co-hosts of the show. Go ahead and Google Rogue Light, Light, Deck Builder. Roguelite Deck Builder. Made in March of 2025, developed and published by Gil Lawson. It is a game where you try to build a deck, and your only means of light is the porch light, which flickers on and off at its own will as if it has gone rogue.
Wait, it says here, developer, King of Video Games Production. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
What?
It's a game.
What is this?
It is the strangest. It's one of the strangest games I've ever played, in large air quotes. It's you start off the game and you're in a living room, I guess, and then this horrifying monster thing just says, "I am husband and I very want to build deck. You build deck for me," or something like this, and then you're just like, you have two options: go shopping for roguelike increased stuff things, or go build a deck. When you select go build a deck, you go outside to the porch in which the framework of a deck is laid out, and then you appear. your guy crouches down, and you have two little hands. Those are the only things that you control in the game. And he'll place a board down, and then he'll have a nail in one hand and a hand and then a hammer in the other. And then you move a cursor around till you get to where you want to put the nail, because there's spaces where it goes. And then you click, and then it's just like very, very baby steps or getting over it style. You have to control this floppy ass hammer hand, like with the mouse.
That's
I wasn't
funny.
prepared for it to be a real deck.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared. It is thoroughly confused Steam's algorithm because it says it's similar to games I played, Retro Rewind and Racoin.
Yeah,
it
it's
has
not
no
at all.
idea what this is.
And so you just haven't played games like it, in other words. Yeah, you just, the way you control it is just you use the mouse to just flail around, but don't hit your hand, because that'll cost you money, because basically every time you put a nail in a board, you get $1. Unless you do a perfect nail, then you get $2.
Oh my God.
And how do you get a perfect nail? I don't know. I couldn't rhyme, or basically it's just like you have to hit it at the exact perfect speed that it wants, at the exact perfect velocity. When you hit the board, like the nail, like it'll like give you feedback like good, perfect. But the words good and perfect actually like bing, like populate on the wood, and then they just like and like fall over on the wood. It's just like, and it's like there's every once in a while there'll be like a little bug crawling around, and if you use the hammer to squash the bug, you get an extra $1. And then you can upgrade a thing that makes it to where you make more money. If you squash a bug, there's a thing you can upgrade where you make money over time by investing in stocks. It's just so as you're nailing wood, you're just earning money. Every time you hit the nail, it goes like boing, boing, bang, bang, like makes a ridiculous sound effect. When you hit yourself in the hand, the word ouch like comes to life and then falls on the screen or whatever.
Was this made by our friend Zoro Arts over at Paddle Paddle Paddle? Because it sounds exactly like one of his
I looked over at the screen at the trailer, and it was just like the nail was replaced by a little alien going
An
like
alien.
this, and
So
you have to, like,
that's
hit
the
him.
other thing, is that every once in a while, when you go to pull out a nail, it'll just be something else. And like I said, within the first deck, but I was almost done with the first deck, and then I pull out a nail, and it is just a little alien guy going like this.
Yeah.
And every time, and he speaks in rhythm when he sways, because obviously it's very hard to nail him down because he's only straight for a moment, but he'll go like every time he gets, so you'd have to like, okay, let me get this little fucker, and then you hit your hand, you're like, ah, damn it, I lost $1. It's just like, so the way you win is that when you get $1 million, you can go to the store section and buy a key, and its description just says freedom.
That's
so
amazing.
I wasn't gonna do that, but I looked up the ending just to be like, what happens when you get $1 million? Did I mention already? You get $1 per nail. You have to get $1 million in order to beat the game. And when you beat the game, you buy the key, and then the husband character just says, thank you. And then he walks off the screen, and that's the end of the game.
Holy shit! This is $3.99, mind you.
Exactly
it's
my shit.
$3.99. That's
Exactly
amazing.
my shit. And when I came here, I was like, wow, this was the joke that I also had in mind. Thank you, roguelite deck builder. But yeah, that's it. That's what else I have for this week.
Incredible. I'm so happy that I know that this exists.
Oh
now.
my God, it's so dumb. All right, Buck, what else have you got for us this week?
I've been watching a crap ton of Tales from the Crypt, that's for sure. I know we talked about that coming out, but oh man, I had just forgotten how beautiful this show is in its presentation and in the
Tish and I watched the Tim Curry episode.
Yes.
And I said, Buck said there's a really awkward sex scene in this. And let me finish my thought here. At the very beginning of the episode is watching a guy who I cannot remember the actor's name, but you're like, oh, I know that guy from movies. And he's too old to be having very visceral sex with the very beautiful woman in the beginning, very first shot. And I was like, this must be the awkward sex scene Buck was talking about. Nope. Because at the end of the episode, that very same guy fucks Tim Curry. And I was like, never mind. This is the awkward
Dressed
sex
as
scene.
an ugly woman.
Fucking awesome, dude.
wow.
Sorry, continue.
No, but that's exactly right. That's exactly.
Yeah.
It just. So the episodes in Tales from the Crypt, especially in the earlier seasons, were like 25 minutes long or less. They got up to like 30, and there were some longer ones later on. But earlier on, they were really short. And that's including the intro from the Crypt Keeper and the outro from the Crypt Keeper. So these episodes are 20 minutes long, give or take, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You got to remember, this show was done by like Joel Silver, Rob Zemeckis, Richard Donner. Like, that's who did Tales from the Crypt. A lot of them initially in the first handful of episodes, I think, were even directed by Richard Donner. And it was so funny because the wife walked in. And it was the very beginning of this Christmas episode, and it's this guy sitting on the couch talking, and his wife's behind him, and she's holding a fire poker, and she goes, "Oh, is she gonna kill him?" And I go, "Well, I'm only 10 seconds into the episode, but probably." And by the 45-second mark, the guy was dead. And it's like it's Tales from the Crypt. They can't fuck around. But that's not the twist. The twist then happens. I just forgot how beautiful. They're so succinct. There's no filler. It's just like thing happens right away. Great monologue. I mean, I just watched the one with Leah Thompson from Back to the Future. And it's one about where she sells her beauty to this crazy pawn shop keeper. And it's like, God, these are so great, based on the comics twisted.
What if Are You Afraid of the Dark was competent?
Right, and had boobies, yeah.
Because
it's HBO, there's always boobies in there.
So
too.
much.
But if you didn't have a reason to get Shudder before, holy crap, They immediately canceled out the canceling of Joe Bob, I think, by spending the money on Tales from the Crypt. So
yeah, it's smart.
Good on them.
Smart move.
One more. What else you got? And that is vinyl. But a beautiful one that I pre-ordered a couple months ago finally came in, and that is a re-release of George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead.
Beautiful.
Whoa.
Zombie splatter vinyl.
A movie soundtrack.
And a good one, too. Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's got the gonk on it, Mac.
Yeah.
Right. The elevator music. Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
If you don't know about, obviously you might say, Buck, I know about Dawn of the Dead. Don't call me a dum-dum. I love James Gunn. No, just kidding. He wrote he wrote that remake. I'm talking about the original George Romero one. If you didn't know this, though, when it went to Europe, because of all the Giallo stuff and everything, they were like, it's this and it's weird. And, when people watch horror movies in Europe, especially Italy, they really like really different kind of soundtracks than this. So I don't know if you know this, but the European version of this movie, Zombie, was re-edited by, I think, Dario Argento, and has a Goblin soundtrack.
Holy shit, dude. That rocks.
So one of these discs has also the Goblin soundtrack to Zombie, because it's a 3-disc set. This bad boy. I mean,
that rocks.
Awesome filler out. You can see the cover art here has the the zombies from like the monk. They had those Buddhists that would wander around malls back in the 70s, handing out beats. And on the back even has there's the Tom Savini as a biker during the part where the bikers come in.
Yes.
So I mean, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love this movie, and so when I saw this coming out, I literally pre-ordered this. In
that January. Is cool.
Gorgeous,
the
fun.
Best
Movie soundtracks would be okay too, right?
That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. All right, Raph, it's your turn. What else have you got for us this week?
I've got a game called It Has My Face. This came out actually, I want to say last month, actually.
Not very old. Because there's a streamer I follow, Cauliflower, who is or Kayla Flower is she's one of the faces. She's like a cameo.
Oh, really? That's fun.
Character. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is developed by Nightbite Games, published by Behavior Interactive, and it's a psychological horror roguelike. The concept is that you're placed into a crowd and a crowded environment. I'm sorry, with a mirror in your hand that you can use to see what you look like. And then what you must do is find your doppelganger in the crowd, and you have to kill them before they kill you.
Whoa,
yes.
this looks fucking awesome.
I was gonna say, it's super pixel graphics.
Oh, yeah. It's surprisingly simple, but surprisingly effective. There's a lot of really serious tension when you run into the doppelganger, for example, and you don't have a weapon, because you have to find a weapon on the map. So sometimes you'll run into the doppelganger and be like, I can't do anything with you yet. Or you'll see it walk by and you're like, let me find a weapon, then fucking sneak up behind his ass and shoot him in the head or something like that. But if you get too close, then it'll pull out a knife and try to attack you. Pretty cool concept, kind of scary, legitimately kind of scary. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, is there penalties for killing the wrong person type deal?
So it's different. It depends on each level, because there are certain levels that have certain modifiers to them that will make it where you have to kill this other civvy that has a thing that you need. It'll be a marked enemy that you do. I don't think that there's necessarily a penalty for killing anyone who's not the thing you're trying to kill, but there are police officers, because it's kind of set in like this not a post-apocalyptic, but like
Don't like
kind
people panic though if you kill someone
Right,
and then they
yeah,
come
people-
running, which means your doppelganger gets lost in the shuffle and
exactly
then stabs
people
you in the
freak
back
out.
before you notice.
There's a weird, like, I mean, one of the cons to the game, in my opinion, is kind of like the AI of the NPCs is not super great. Sometimes they just gather around you, and you're like, okay, what are you guys doing? But
Kind
I
of
get
on
that what
purpose
it's
to confuse you.
right. What it's trying to do exactly is trying to confuse you, and try to like kind of mix up. Oh my god, dude! There's so many little things that the game does to confuse you. There's a modifier called hypnosis, where sometimes you'll be hypnotized and everybody on the map looks like the doppelganger for like a few seconds, and then you have to like okay, what do I do? And you hide in a corner and just like wait for that to be over. There's things like there's a modifier called cannibals, where there will be randomly in the crowd, aside from your doppelganger, there will be cannibals that will eat people. And if you're not careful, they'll try to eat you. You have to scare them away with weapons. There's an acid rain modifier where you'll be hurt if you're outside for too long. Sometimes the doppelganger will just change his appearance in the middle of the game. So
It's got lots of like that. The Dead by Daylight guys published this. This is one of the games that they've put on their label, and it's just neat and quirky and different.
Right.
It's a cheap game, but it's
very
a
unique.
fun
It's very
little-
cheap.
yeah.
It's very much worth. I could see it getting repetitive after a while, but I think that the price makes it well worth it, and I think that the modifiers that occur in each map as you progress, because there is a story to it. I think the concept is that you yourself are a doppelganger that's being used to fight other doppelgangers.
Cool.
Yeah,
I see a
it's-
multiplayer mode. Any
There
idea how that
is.
works?
Yes, I only just figured that out today. Actually, I was playing this last night, and then I was like, oh shit, there's multiplayer. I don't know how it works yet.
PvP is what it says.
I don't know how it works. The only thing I could think of is that you have one friend who is the doppelganger, and
Right.
then you're
It's like
playing against the
Assassin's
human
Creed.
opponent.
Or something.
Don't you tempt me with that. I absolutely loved the Assassin's Creed multiplayer.
Wow.
I think that like if you go into this not expecting kind of something, it's a little bit bare bones, then you could say it's a solid 6 out of 10. But I think if you're going into it knowing that one, this is a low price tag game, and it's like kind of like it's something you can kind of play for a few minutes and then you can put it down, I'd easily give it a 7 or 8 out of 10.
It will
It's
jump
quite good.
scare you. It will
will?
jump scare you.
Oh my God.
You will think you're okay, and you're weeding through people, and all of a sudden, and
Something
you get shot
stabs
from
you.
behind
You
by
get
your
stabbed
clone or
by
something.
the fucking
Yeah.
thing, and then you realize, oh, I walked by the doppelganger and he stabbed me, and then you're dead. One hit, basically, and you're dead. Same thing with the doppelganger.
Wow.
One hit, the doppelganger dies. So you can't accidentally bump to the doppelganger, or else it will stab you. It'll just shank you and kill you.
Whoa.
It's very cool. Check it out. I don't remember what the price tag was. I know it's on sale
like $10
right now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's on sale right now, but I think it's like $10 normally. Very worth the price. Looks very fun.
You
Play
can get
this
it in
is
a
very
bundle
cool.
with Look Outside.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's very cool. Check it out.
It has my face. Yeah. Good title. Good title as well.
Very.
Wow. All right. Well, hey, that does it. That is the end of our episode. We have reached the end of another. Thank you so much, dear listener or viewer. Make sure to like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Share the episodes if you haven't. It really helps a lot. Don't forget to check out the Super Interview Brothers on YouTube and Spotify as well. You can head to our linktree/the GTP, where you can find our Patreon. If you become a Patreon subscriber for $5 a month, you get access to those Super Interview Brother episodes a week early via an
keep getting better and
RSS
better.
feed on your Spotify. And they just
better
keep
and better.
getting better and better. If you haven't watched them, go check them out, because they're really cool. We want to thank Crunkwitch for the use of our theme song, Clash of the Droids. You can find their music on Apple Music, Spotify, anywhere you can find music on the internet. We got to thank RetroGameTreasure.com, as always, owned and operated by the Megabuck himself, bringer of the Retro Zone video games. Retro Game Treasure is a subscription service that helps you collect retro video games. How? Great question. Very easily. All you do is you become a subscriber, you tell Buck what consoles you like to collect for, then you tell him what genres and subgenres of video games you enjoy. You also tell him what video games you already own. Then each month, Buck hand packs a box of video games based off of those genre preferences for those systems, games you don't already have, refurbished games that are guaranteed to work, to your door ready for you to play and add to your collection in perpetuity forever. So no more guessing, no more going to flea markets, no more putting a dirty game inside of your analog pocket. Instead, start collecting games the easy way today with RetroGameTreasure.com. That is all we have for you, dear listener. Until next week, my name is Max Stein, and I love the Game Treasure Podcast. It's so bad.
It's so bad.